Hello, everyone. I'm glad y'all are able to join us tonight. It's been the day that we've been waiting for a long time, and didn't disappoint. There was some uh, good information came out today. We know where we stand now, and I look forward to sharing the presentation with you and tell you my 2 cents of where we are heading and what happened. But as always, respect each other, the mods in chat. No names, no initials of any suspects, or if you have any information that has anything to do with this case, notify law enforcement, give the information to those that can um, use it best. And also, not only for law enforcement, but if you have any information on the case that will assist the prosecution or the defense, we want all the information to get to the right people. And the defense made a plea today for that. And so, to be fair, we need to do that also. But prior, I just wanted to make sure everybody was on the same page about the names and everything. And so we'll get started. As always, a little brief bio. This is Steve, and I'm Steve. I'm retired law enforcement, 20 years of service. Started off in the jail, worked road, and went into investigations. During those 20 years, I had all different types of training from SWAT all the way into becoming a state certified crime scene tech, which helped my investigative career immensely. I handled all different types of cases from thefts, burglaries, up to homicides. And after I retired, found the true crime world and the web sleuths, and looked at that and thought that I'd like to become an ambassador for law enforcement, and tried to do my best and built this channel on that so that the web sleuth community can have a great impact and assist law enforcement when needed, and to understand how law enforcement thinks. But tonight, as we talk about the hearing of the sealed documents and everything today, we got to see Richard Allen being escorted from the courthouse after the hearing this morning, and which all the hearing part of it, of course, was emotion. That's the big news about what was submitted. But there was some language used today that surprised a lot of people. And it's just emotion right now. And there's a lot of difference when the prosecution just submits a motion to the court. The judge will study and decide, and then make about what type of order will be issued by the court of what which side, because they heard information not only from the prosecution and evidence presented to the court, but also from the defense of why it should be unsealed, and they made some good points from a later. I got to see an interview that we'll be going over and seeing some of the information that the defense attorney presented, and we'll analyze who I think won today. And I believe the defense knocked it out of the park today. I really do. I think they're going to be, at the end of the day, they won some critical and got some leverage today that they didn't have prior to today. And we'll be going over some of that information. But like I said, we got to see Richard Allen after the hearing, and then as he's placed into another vehicle for escort. And of course, law enforcement brought in a high priority security team to make sure that nothing happens to this individual by someone from the public. That, there's always some type of people out there that just try to possibly seek some type of vigilante justice. And of course, we don't need that in this case. But right now, Richard Allen is standing at the mercy of the court. And as everyone has those constitutional rights, the court's going to look at him as innocent until proven guilty, and they'll have to protect him, and they have protected him. He's layered up, and it appears to be wearing a vest, ballistic vest under his clothing. And then, of course, he has enough security personnel to ensure that nothing happens to this individual.
Can I interrupt?
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to mention about Molly's wrist. today. So she broke her wrist the other day. So if she's a little late or a little delay in replying, it's not her fault. She's just slow typing. So, Molly, we hope you're doing better, and y'all bear with her.
Absolutely. And we want to thank all our mods for doing the work they do. Couldn't do it without you. And then, of course, the judge, the motion was given to the judge that they wished it to remain sealed due to all the coverage that's going to be on this case and all the coverage that has happened, and that could possibly influence the case. And which, you know, this country is built on the ability for freedom of speech, and and you have certain constitutional rights, and courts have to act in a certain manner. And along with that motion, during some of the interviews of the newscast coverage, they mentioned that not only did the prosecution place that motion, but they also submitted semi off the record, but a redacted version of the probable cause for the judge to consider, which means at a minimum that's going to come in. The judge may hold everything and seal everything, but the prosecution understood at some point some of this is going to be coming out, and I'm sure they have a heavily redacted version of this probable cause affidavit. And it's when you listen to what the defense said about it, it's quite remarkable. And so I don't anticipate that there's going to be a lot of redaction when we get it eventually. I think the judge will open it up quite a bit for us in the coming days, and just haven't at this time. And I take that from the mannerisms of what the defense attorney said, and which the defense attorney did exactly what I anticipated and thought, and did a good job at it today. And you'll see, and we'll go more into that in just a few. But if you ever walked into court with a defense attorney that looks at you and tells you the prosecution's got an ironclad case, it's over, you need another defense attorney. And you don't see that. Never in my career have I ever watched a defense attorney take for granted what, and they shouldn't. And that's the way the defense attorneys are trained, that is a two-sided story. And really it's more than that, because you got both sides, and then you always have what the truth actually is, because a lot of times each side will kind of can it one way or the other. It's just human nature, and that's the way it goes. But these great debates that we have in courts guarantee us the ability that when they're refereed fairly by a judge that's going to hold everybody, that they're going to have to go by the rule of law. That's what we want, because if Richard Allen is guilty of these offenses, we want him to be held accountable. But if there's someone else that is responsible for these murders, then they have to be held accountable. And so, like it or not, that's the way our court systems are. And we're going to ride this out. And it was quite exciting today, and we'll be getting into that. Late this afternoon, I saw where a Fox 59 did an interview of Richard Allen's defense attorney speak in his interview. So if you go on to YouTube and you type in the Fox 59 Richard Allen defense attorney, you'll find this. You watch it. This attorney is extremely professional. He did exactly what any good defense attorney is. I'm impressed with him. And he threw quite a few haymakers. And the prosecution put out some information today that surprised not only the defense, but surprised a lot of us. And by making that there may be other actors, and there's a second person involved. What does that mean? We don't know what the prosecution meant, and will they clarify what they meant by that second actor or actors? We'll find out in the future. But I know which way the defense took it. That was they threw a softball up there, and the defense is going to knock that ball out of the park, and I believe they did so. And you'll see here in a few as we go through these comments that were made by the defense attorney. Round one, I have no doubt, is won by the defense today. They put out there, as they should, that Richard Allen's told them that he's innocent. They believe that he's innocent, and that they're going to represent and try to prove that. And that they are anxious, the defense and Richard Allen is anxious for the public to read the probable cause affidavit. This is putting it right back into the ballpark of the prosecution and saying there's nothing in there that we are afraid of. And he mentions that during that interview, that he wasn't scared one bit. But when he read that, he wasn't impressed, and that all the information that was gathered, and he kind of downgrades or belittles the investigation, because he said, is this what happens after 5 years of an investigation? And we are not impressed, which is strong words. So I'm looking forward to reading that affidavit at some point and see how accurate this statement is, because in my world and going to court, those are very strong words coming from a defense attorney. Anticipated, but they are very strong words. And he was speaking about that, it was news to them, that conjecture from the prosecutor today of 2 people being involved. He said, that is new to us. And so he says he doesn't have all the other information, but he says there's nothing in the affidavit that says that there's another person involved. And the prosecutor has thrown out there a situation of how we're going to combat this and what does that mean. And one way we can look at this is that the Ron Logan issue, that if this was being sealed to protect a second person involved, Ron Logan's deceased. So it's not that they would be presenting this to protect Ron Logan. He's out of the picture. And so there has to be another actor involved that is, in my opinion, I could be dead wrong, but in my opinion, that is active in the community now somewhere. Is he in jail or is he free? Don't know. But by saying that we're still wanting it sealed, and when he interjected that there's another person involved, you don't do that to protect people that are deceased. You do that to protect people, investigations that are active investigations of persons that can be tried in the future. And so, but that's what it means to me. And at one point he was asked, and he says he had no information of Keegan Klein being involved in this case. You would think that anyone in Indiana, because we're scattered across the world and we all know who Keegan Klein is, but this is a defense attorney that is very active and is a professional and has many homicide investigations going on, as he makes in this interview clear. So they've got an attorney that has a lot of homicide experience, as would be required in case this does go to the possibility of a capital offense, that the prosecution will seek that. And the attorney also said that Richard Allen's wife supports him, and spoke about their marriage, how long they've been together, and humanizing him as what a defense attorney should do. We have to make everyone realize that this, from his perspective, and I'm saying this just for the fact that this is how we all should view it. Right now, it's in the early stages of this trial. It's easy to jump on one side of the bandwagon or the other, but to be fair and to be prepared and not, wear your heart on your sleeve, you have to be able to look at this stuff, understand it, and not get emotionally involved. Because when you get emotionally involved, you lose some of your judgment, and you'll jump to conclusions, and you'll make some bad judgments. And he says that point blankly, our client is the wrong guy. And if he's the wrong guy, then that means that with this door being open, that there's another actor out there, that there is a possibility of another guy involved. And he reiterates again several times that he's not worried of the probable cause that's contained in the affidavit. And he clarifies that there may be a lot of other evidence out there, but he's not aware of it currently. And the discovery part of this trial hasn't, pre-trial hasn't got to that point. That would be one of the future hearings. And there was also, I think, that there has been a separate a date set for a bond hearing that they asked for in February of 2023. So we have that to look forward to, and what will become of that, and what will the court say, and what information will come forward, and will they be anything fast tracked? Don't know right now. But one of the most interesting statements that was asked of him, and one of the most powerful statements, and you can see where the defense is going, and he took advantage of it today. There's no gag order right now. There's only a motion. The court has not made a order or has issued an order for anything to be taken off the table and that you can't talk to the media. And he took full advantage of that today. And when he says that he doesn't know, and he said Keaton Klein, but I just abbreviate it, and he throwed it in there. That might be the guy who did it. I don't know anything. So he did the political thing, throwed it out there. What's going to be made of that will probably be pretty huge in the coming days. So today, the defense took full advantage of another, you had all the news media from across the country there represented. And so the defense attorney had a shot at making it a case, not only one of the largest cases in the state of Indiana, but one of the largest cases in the United States that we're going to probably see in the next years, if not decade or so. Just like with O.J. Simpson, it was a huge case, and Casey Anthony was a huge case, and this is going to be a huge case. And he took full advantage of that today. But anyway, with that being said, a couple other things. As always, if you have any information, not only for law enforcement, but for the prosecution and for the defense, contact them. There'll be ways of doing that. I don't have the contact information for the defense or the prosecution. I'll have to get that. And also, on a side note, we were, as I came back from working the Evansdale homicide meeting with Drew, as I came back through Delphi, and I decided to run by the bridge. This is what it looks like, and currently, and just wanted y'all to see it. It's couldn't get across the metalwork; it was icy, and I really didn't want to fall off of that, and
have to explain it.
Yeah, and so I just took a picture of it, turned around. I had some stuff I was going to do, but I didn't have Mrs. Steve with me to keep me off, and so anyway, just wanted to show that to you. And so we'll go back. And got any questions?
No, you got a few.
All right.
All right. We're going to start off with single mama 4. Man, I've waited all day to ask this. What's this brown jacket that RA had on?
There's a lot of different type of restraints he may have had on. And to hide all the kinds of restraints he may have had, from waist chains, shock belts to knee braces, and then also some of these things can have another ballistic value as far as some type of ballistic value protection against anyone that might try to use a firearm against him, or a edged weapon. And so I don't know if that's the case with that outer jacket, but there was a darker article underneath that appeared to be more of a heavier ballistic vest, and in case there was anything from some type of firearm. So I'm pretty sure they layered him up. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate your support.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
It means a lot to us. Gives us the opportunity to go out and do a lot of things that we wouldn't be able to do without all our support from our members. And we thank every one of them.
All right. And Sammy H., he seemed really short compared to all the officers.
I believe that the 5'3", 5'4", and from what I saw from another picture today of the wall chart, that appears to be accurate. That yes, he's going to be more of the shorter, because I've seen a lot of police departments and you don't have a lot of 7-foot guys walking around. So if he was close to 6 foot, you'd have a lot of 7-footers, and that's not the case. Averages are averages.
And Jennifer Rochelle, if my child was murdered and I had to be next to the killer, I could never compose myself. I would lose it. Poor family.
And it does get quite emotional in courtrooms, and the security details has a job to do, and they'll have certain people assigned to not only to the accused, but also to families of both sides. Thank you, Super Sticker Michelle. Appreciate that.
Thank you. All right, and that is. All right, and Molly, what type of Ellie was guarding RA coming in and out? It says police, but they're dressed like military. Any thoughts?
That's pretty much a standard of what your special op team would be, your SWAT team. That's a general dress out uniform, type of uniform for that. Of course, it doesn't have all the. Scott Brown, Super Sticker.
Almost slipped by me, Scott. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Appreciate that, sir. Appreciate it. But that's pretty well what the normal wear would be prior to dress out, either to respond to some type of call out or anything, or your training uniform.
All right.
She's got everything. She's got every device running in the house right now.
Well, I had to have help on that.
Oh yeah.
All right. So you answered Molly and Kelt, and each and every one of that team was 7 foot tall.
That's what I'm saying. It's not. I mean, if you put him at 5'8", 5'9", then yes, you'd have to have everybody else 7 foot tall. Not the case.
All right. And Ann, I would say that I wish ROA would, but that strongly said of chin whiskers, but that would be frivolous to say, so I won't.
I understand.
All right. Same
again.
one.
Yep.
Hold on. I got to get rid of my star. All right. And Mr. Rick, or RA, could easily appear for this type of procedural hearing, quote, online. Making him show up in person costs the state a lot of resources. So why do you think judge required that?
Well, it allows, they may have had another, we don't know if what type of access that the attorneys have had with Richard Allen. It may have only been in a jail setting. And sometimes that when a client, the accused shows up, they'll have a part of the courthouse set aside so that the attorneys and the accused, as they prep for the hearing, can have those last moment discussions. And is that the case in here? I don't know, but that does occur. And maybe the judge wanted to impress upon Mr. Allen that I'm the judge, I'm hearing this, and there's a lot of reasons the judge do, and I never question the judge, so I really don't know why. Single mom of 4, $5 Super Sticker. Thank you.
Appreciate you so much. We appreciate it.
But there's reasons to bring him to court, to make sure that there's nothing going on, and give him the opportunity to declare to the judge that I'm being unfairly treated is also something that the judicial system always worries about sometimes.
All right. I hope I'm catching up. All right. And Lady Truth, I don't think it's safe for him to be out on bail with no protection.
I don't think that's ever going to be the case if they have probable cause. Now, if the defense wins some of this, and as they get close to that bond hearing, if the defense can come up with some exculpatory information, then that may be a possibility.
And Jennifer Rochelle, I'm so happy they came out and said there is another person they haven't arrested. It's been my feeling the whole time.
Yeah, we just don't know what that definition of that other person is. Is it someone that was an alibi? Is it someone that was there, that was an active actor? We just don't know. And when will that information come out? And there will be a lot of speculation on that.
And Jeff, ironic, the defense filed a motion for a gag order and then turned around and grabbed it up with the media.
It's not the defense. My understanding is it was the prosecution who obtained the affidavit. It's not the defense. The defense took advantage of the motion order not coming out at this time, but no, it was the prosecution that made this motion.
Okay. And Molly, why do you think RA had a trench coat put over him when he was being walked in? I've never seen that before.
Like I said, it may have been more than just a trench coat. It could have some more ballistic values, but also to hide some of the restraints. Certain things about certain judges and courts, they'll oftentimes order that individuals are to be cloaked so that you don't see the restraints being used. And I don't know if that's with this judge or not, but I've seen it. Whereas when they're in public, that they do not want the accused to be seen in a manner, although it's hard to disguise, but you got this SWAT team surrounding him, high profile case, but you just never know what the judge's order for law enforcement and the handling of a high profile inmate.
Okay. Let me jot this. You got to be off anytime soon?
Nope. I'm here for you.
Okay. All right. And Olivia, these two defense attorneys are very confident, very cool.
Exactly as we would anticipate anyone that has, and that would need to meet the requirements that if this does go capital, that they will have to meet those minimum requirements. And I haven't looked into the backgrounds of them, but I would anticipate that the court has already anticipated that.
And Ann, I assume defense lawyers have agreed to accept state-paid schedule of attorney fees, but wonder how much state is going to pay for defense experts, private investigators, etc. Easily near $1 million.
I believe that you have undersold it, but yes, I think it's going to be more than that. But yes, it's going to be extremely expensive to prosecute and to defend.
And sees through. So the rumor of insanity was false by the look of it?
We don't know. Those hearings haven't been decided. And those will all be decided at some point. There's special things that once the defense, if they ever make that type of motion that are consideration for the court, that they're going to enter some type of plea that he's innocent by reason of insanity, that those hearings will be separate and on in the future. We just hadn't seen if they're going to go that route.
All right, I'm looking for something. Oh, here we go.
Michelle.
Super sticker.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that
so much.
That means a lot to us, and we use it for a good cause. We got a lot of stuff that we're doing and going out and trying to help as many people as we can.
All right, I'm trying to catch up here. I'm cruising kind of fast, so hopefully I'm not missing anybody. But y'all's fingers are working tonight. All right, let's see here.
I'm glad that she's here to help me with this here Google machine. I couldn't do it. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
you
know how
could.
some of these creators are able to run the chat and.
He could do it, y'all. Just trust me on that. He could do it. All about choices. All right. And Molly, sounds like defense attorneys are doing what they're supposed to do, which is good. Even if RA guilty, he still deserves a fair trial, as do we all.
Excellent. That's the way that our system is designed, and so far we've seen it. You know, people have held it in question, you know, in the last few days of why this and that, but the courts will handle it, and they'll handle it correctly.
All right. And Jamuki, got a feeling prosecutor is staging for additional unexplained DNA and why they introduced a secondary offender early, if he even said that.
Yeah, I'm of course I don't have anyone that has any, you know, it's been reported by the reporters in the courtroom that this is what was said, that there's another actor. And is this the reason? It could be. But there was something said about that there was another actor, or these news reporters that I'm taking their word for it are wrong. Kristen behind the crown door, $10. Love your coverage of these important topics and your support of my channel. Absolutely, Kristen behind the crown door. I don't know if she has a show tonight, but
she does. 9 o'clock.
Okay. At 9, I'm going to be going over there to watch her show in a few minutes after we get done.
Like I said. All right, let's see here. And Mick, I believe the defense attorney actually meant what he said. He elaborated enough that his sincerity seemed real.
Yeah, I mean, you know, everyone communicates in certain ways, and he said he looked him in the eye, which of course we all say that sometimes, but the defense attorney, he says what he said, and he's going to defend him regardless if he believes it or not. And right now he's on the side that he absolutely believes his client is innocent. And so we have to take it for what it is.
And Anna, that defense attorney has his reputation to defend. If his client looked guilty of sin, I don't think he would have spoken so strongly, in my opinion.
I agree with you. He was very forceful in his statements, and very confident that he is not scared or afraid of anything that's in that probable cause. Now, that also probably means that what is written in that probable cause is meaningless as far as all the evidence. That unlike what with the Ron Logan search warrant was, is that there was probably a lot of testimony or verbal and testimony in support of this probable cause. Just don't know, but it appears that will be the case.
All right. And defense attorney may be, quote, not impressed by arrest warrant affidavit, but hey, it got the job done. Judge issued warrant and client is in custody.
And that's all it takes is that probable cause. And you're only looking at 51%, or 50 point something is more probable than not. And so, yes, a lot of affidavits and won't impress anyone. And that's why he's anxious for the public to see this. And because this evidently is a nothing. And I think they refer to it as a nothing burger or something. But yeah, it's evidently, like I said, he reiterated that several times, that there's nothing in there that they're fearful of.
You've got Hoosier Cold Case. You've got the Mob Crew, Cop Facts, Kristen Behind the Crime Door visiting you.
Great, guys. There's a lot of great channels out there. If you see them in chat, go check them out. And I appreciate all their support. I enjoyed talking to all of them, and all of them have assisted me in so much. And I want to thank them for everything they've done for my channel. And I respect them a lot. Don't always agree with all of them, but I respect them a lot regardless, because it's a process that you have to be able to debate certain issues, understand them, talk about them and work out, and you'll come away a lot better for that.
And thanks, Molly, for the heads up on that. All right, let's see here if I can get back. We're going to say 8:35.
A lot to be said for respect of each other and everybody. We'd be all better off if we all just respected each other and worked for just the truth of what can be done with this YouTube channels. And like I said, I respect all those channels.
And sees through. I do not care how they got to search. I just hope they found what they needed.
Yeah, you may not, and we don't really care how they got to the search, but it has to be based upon law and probable cause, because the defense attorneys are going to try to get everything thrown out. That if they didn't dot their I's and cross their T's and those affidavits for the search warrants, then anything that was gathered from those search warrants and from the arrest warrant can be tossed. And these defense attorneys are going to be looking at that. And so the courts will make a judgment on those issues. We need, I need one more, Mrs. Steve. Mrs. Steve 2.
Let's see here. I got her. She's just next door. She's having to text me.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And Josh the Posh, 63.
Steve, what is typically involved in discovery? When do you think that the discovery process will start? How much access do the attorneys get? There's a schedule laid out that if you go into Indiana, it tells you that all the pretrial hearings, and there's a step pattern. The discovery will be coming sometime, I would anticipate, prior to February. It just depends on a lot about the court's calendar. But within that discovery, the defense will ask for the evidence that you have against my client. And that's going to include everything from depositions to eyewitness reports, lab reports, DNA. Uh-oh. Hey.
What?
You knocked me off. I don't, or not. No, you didn't. Okay.
I did not.
Oh, it was that word. Okay. But it was the discovery thing. I couldn't see it all. I got knocked off. I don't know where it's at. But anyway,
For Josh's?
yeah, I couldn't because it was a multi question.
Oh, it just went away. Where'd it go? Okay, there we go.
Okay. So all of the DNA and everything will be in there. And anything and everything that the prosecution can have access to. And also it has to be within the discovery is anything that is exculpatory that will show his innocence. That if there is another offender or if there is something that shows that he's innocent of these crimes, the prosecution has to provide that information within that information and all that document dump that they're going to do. And the defense attorneys have access to all of that. And if they failed, and if they don't have access to it, then of course the next appeals court will overturn and make sure that there's a fair trial held.
Are you done?
Your light's on.
I like my light.
I know you like
All
your
right,
light.
you done?
Uh-huh. Yeah, on those moldy parts, I'm not as fast as you.
Mm. And Kelp, prosecutor wants all this stuff sealed, etc. Yet he throws out the idea of a second person, thus kicking up the speculation mill.
Oh man, did he ever? I mean, he throwed it to the defense and they took advantage of it, in my opinion. And we'll see what the YouTubers, I think I went through and saw where some have already started looking at it, and it's fair game. You know, the prosecution is one that did this. And that's what the prosecution believes. And if the prosecution believes it, then we do have to take it under advisement.
And Dave, all they have to do is redact the other name. I am not buying the other suspect.
Yep. Yes, I don't even know why that statement was made by the prosecution unless it actually is another party. That's the only reason that I can ever imagine that a prosecutor would make that statement, is there's another actor in some capacity. What that capacity is, don't know.
All right, and here's your question. Sees through, could they mean an online associate?
Absolutely. I mean, we don't know what the definition of that actor is. And so we have to, is it on scene, online? Don't know.
And Kelt, anyone LE is looking at would already be tipped off as soon as RA was arrested. So that is not a legit reason to keep it sealed, in my opinion.
Oh, yes. If there's anyone else involved right now, they know. They're sweating bullets. They know they're under investigation. And that law enforcement's looking at them right now, without a doubt.
And Mick, and what about McClellan mentioning a possible second person? If they don't come up with one by RA trial, that could really hurt the prosecution case, eh?
Well, it depends if that, you see, just because an prosecution attorney, all this information is not being presented for the final jury or to that jury pool. So a lot of things can be said outside and before trial, and even during trial. It depends on what the judge decides to do with how they're going to control what is said by the prosecution, the defense, and attorneys. But that final information is that with proper jury selection, the jury may never be made aware that the prosecution made this statement. But the defense will be trying to find that if it isn't going well for the defense, they'll try to find a way to get it in there. There'll be arguments about it regardless. Sensitive Wackadoodle, what are your thoughts on the minor witnesses? All those minors, I think by now, are a lot of them are adults. So they're, and regardless, they would be processes for depositions to be taken by the defense. And so that the defense can look at and say, who did you identify? And, is Richard Allen, who was on that trail that day. And you get one of those witnesses to say, no, that's not him, then it may have a great impact on this case. We just don't know what all will be found out in the coming days.
And Jennifer Rochelle, I think the minors are the others contacted online by AS and EA and etc. that they found on his phone and came forward after they asked people to.
Well, for all the Anthony Shots information to come on, there's going to have to be a link to this. Right now, we're talking about homicide. We have no idea if the Anthony Shots account is even a part of this. Is that what they're looking at? And if that is the other actor, then that will be brought in. But until there's some type of link or of that, the Anthony Shots and what went on can be introduced by the defense as a third party possibility, another actor as being the true offender. We'll get into court. I anticipate that the Anthony Shots will be brought into court. I just don't know if it's going to be brought into court by the prosecution or by the defense.
And too much, Mom. I hope the judge will unseal the affidavit sooner rather than later. And
I think that will be the case for the fact that I believe that the court would like all the information to be out there as far away from the date of trial as possible. Right now, I mean, if you released everything today, and you're still looking at a court date that's probably 2 or 3 years off. Whereas if you hold it and keep it sealed, that some of this stuff may only come out within a few months of a trial date, and judges wouldn't want that. They would want this information to be cold and unrecognized and been sitting in the public eye for a year or two prior to, other than just a week or two.
SB 74, will the defense team employ their own investigators?
Yes, they'll have their own because they've got thousands of tips to go through, and just like what the prosecution, the defense will have all those tips that have been brought, and that'll be part of discovery. And all that information has to be looked through.
And cop facts, the defense will be saying he's innocent right up and during the closing arguments, months and months from now.
Absolutely. Anything less would be a mistrial. And unless they have so much evidence and they decide at some point to change his plea. That can happen. I mean, we don't know. But if it goes to court and it goes to jury, just like Cop Fact says, they're going to declare him innocent. The only thing that would change that is if they countered and came up with some type of plea deal.
And Dave, KK is a perfect reasonable doubt. He's a habitual liar.
And there's a lot of circumstantial and a lot of coincidences that says that he's a part of this. And we just don't know yet. I'm looking forward to finding out.
And sees through. Are they doing the bridge so they can take a jury?
Don't know. That could be a possibility. But there's other ways to get to it. And there's with modern technologies and things, you most certainly couldn't risk taking a jury across that bridge. But I don't think that would be the reason, because there's access from the other side of the bridge to see. And I don't think they're fixing it just for the jury. But it is curious.
And inadmissible evidence, in other words, due to LE procedural mistakes plus alternate whodunit theories to create reasonable doubt equals standard defense strategy.
Well said. That is well said. Absolutely. And we wouldn't expect anything less from a defense attorney.
And Dave, who the jury is going to believe is important, a guy who works for a living, has a family, never been involved in a crime, or a guy who lies all the time, talked to the girls the day of the murder?
And that is where that if the prosecution is at the part that they're investigating now, are they going to be able to link? And if they do so, then that will explain a lot. But if they fail to link it, then of course the defense would try to say this is who the guy is, without a doubt. I have no doubt. That's just my opinion, but I believe that would be the case.
And Molly, no one was allowed to sit in the row behind RA either. They're trying hard to keep him alive. This is good. Dead men tell no tales. I want to see this trial. And
hopefully we will get to see this trial. By the time it goes to court, maybe they'll allow camera access, and we'll be able to see it.
And SP 74, they picked an interesting. Oh shit! They picked an.
She has a bad finger.
Hit my finger.
She just hit her finger.
My eyes are watering. They picked an interesting time of year to start working on the bridge.
Are you okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Again.
All right.
Dang it.
Yes, they did. Like I said, I got up there and saw that it was icy and stuff. The other day we was moving some heavy furniture, and she got her finger hung up.
Finger hung up. Let's see here. My conjecture, and that's all it is that the arrest probable cause may have a lot of facts establishing RA at the bridge, but may not set forth facts linking RA to a specific murder weapon.
It could be, or not. I mean, that may be some of the stuff that they held back, and they just the prosecutor put the bare minimum to get that arrest warrant and to get that search warrant affidavit. Yeah, it could be. Absolutely.
And Mr. Steve, judge today set a February date for the bail hearing. Don't you think that's kind of a long time? Isn't that usually set at arraignment? You
would think so. And it is. But we're here in the middle of the holidays. I can see it being put off for a week or two. I'm surprised it's put off till February. I didn't think it would be that. I thought it might be, you know, here we are at Thanksgiving, and then we're looking at the holidays of Christmas. There has to be some reason that the judge, because if you're innocent and there's potential that that he is innocent, you wouldn't want an innocent man to be kept away from his family during Christmas and the holidays. The judge may have looked at that probable cause and is agreeing that he has the right to a certain bond and bail, but it's not going to be something that's easily won. The judge may already have an idea of where that's going to go. Just don't know. Judges are a different animal.
All right. And Scott, they had to have had some start over. Scott, they had to have some serious evidence to make this arrest. He will never get a bond. I'm
tending to agree with you there. If you have enough to arrest him, but now if the defense attorney with those strong statements has made some very strong statements, and what is the actual meaning? Don't know.
And Molly, reporter said R.A. looked very frightened when he came into the courtroom. Haven't seen him look that way before. Too bad they couldn't take pics. I would have liked to have seen that.
Yes, and I don't know. Walking out, you would expect. I didn't see any type of emotions of excitement, fright, or otherwise as he walked across. But going into courtroom, I don't know. He may have been, that's his first time. That may have been able to, going into unknown, into a public arena where a lot of bad things can happen if, and a lot of people are looking at you in a very hostile manner that he may have had reason to be fearful in that environment. I don't know.
And Anna, maybe the judge wanted to see if the defendant looked sane. Here in Idaho, the one arrested in the Michael Vaughn case said God told her the body was buried in her neighbor's yard. That's interesting.
That is very interesting. I've got to look at that. Send me an email. I hadn't seen that part.
And Olivia, in my opinion, there's another reason the judge wanted R.A. physically in court. It showed R.A. who rules that courtroom.
Yeah.
Amen,
yes, because we just had another high-profile case where you had a defendant that did not respect a judge.
And Jamuki, is there some strategy behind prosecutors bringing up a potential secondary party outside of this specific charge? Seems like a shot in the foot.
Only if it's the nail in the coffin. If they have strong indication that this second party strongly links Richard Allen to the case, would such a statement be made? If it's the other way around, then he did shoot himself in the foot. But the only way that such a statement should be made by a prosecutor is that, yes, we have strong evidence, and this is going to be what will seal it for sure.
And Will, this is an experienced lawyer for sure. No doubt, likely some of the best that has come through town.
Oh, yes. I agree with you on that. Like I said, they have to have certain qualifications if it's going to possibly go to that capital.
And Susan, Mr. Steve, do you think we will see a redacted version of the PC anytime soon?
I'm surprised. Now, I found out that one of the reporters said that a redacted version was admitted by or submitted by the prosecutors. I'm surprised that the judge just didn't stamp that and say, okay, this is good for today. Let's go with this. And then we'll discuss it further. But, at a minimum, I like I said, I was surprised that didn't occur. And that may occur in the next few days.
And Anne, great that accused will be well represented, but at some level, it's such a disproportionate expenditure of state resources on one individual, while majority of other defendants get pretty short shrift.
Well, and fortunately, most of our defendants are not accused of doing such a horrible crime. And that it's very rare that you would have this. But yes, it's going to cost the state
A fortune.
Yes, several fortunes.
And Sarah, the officer's beanie looks a lot like the green hat that Bridge Guy was wearing. Did anyone else notice that?
Must be on one of the other. Oh, okay, I see one beanie there. But no. But that's.
I didn't notice that either.
No.
And Hoosier cold cases. They had the bomb squad out there, cops and cars everywhere. It was really high security. They pulled up in the van real quick, got him out and in the courthouse.
Now you mentioned bomb squad. Yes. Routinely what happens is that K-9s are brought into the courthouse in the early hours prior to the courthouse is sealed. No entry by anyone into the courthouse. They'll run bomb dogs through the courtrooms, through the courthouse, ensuring that there's no type of bombs within the courthouse itself. Then they'll seal off only certain corridors where people can get access to the courtroom. Everything else is sealed, and then they do their screening. But that's typically how they would run that you mentioned, the bomb squad, and what happens with K-9s and things. Or at least that's how we did it here in Georgia.
And Anna, I doubt they are looking at insanity when they say their client looked them in the eye and told them the truth.
Probably not, but that is always an option. Like I said, that information won't ever make it to the jury unless they want it to, and they'll keep all options open.
And Anna, there was something reported as another bad actor. People didn't know what bad actor meant. Defined in a sentence, if KK waited in a red Jeep and helped tidy up the scene, KK is a bad actor. There you go.
Yeah. Well said. And if that is the case, and if they can link that and they have the evidence, supporting evidence of that, that would be the last nail in the coffin.
And Mick, Mr. Steve, do you think LE has a good understanding of crime scene and events? Because it doesn't seem so with another person maybe being involved, plus a decision to use an alternate murder charge.
LE, at the stage we're at now, is what the prosecution's understanding of everything is. And they may direct law enforcement, or they'll be able to get professionals in every aspect of the criminal justice system that will come and make sense of the crime scene and the events, the time, everything that could happen. They're going to have the experts looking at it and creating this trial timeline that as they go through this trial. But and it's not just this one prosecutor. They would have a lot of legal, talented people with great legal minds looking at this and seeing how they're going to proceed. So it's not just this one attorney versus two attorney. Each of them, they're going to have a team of people looking at this, analyzing it, and figuring out what the best process is.
And I'm going to interrupt.
Yes.
Why said, how about them Bulldogs?
Oh, my goodness. Thank goodness.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
You know the way to her heart.
That's it. All right. Let's see. And Professor Pug, I also like pugs. He seemed top-notch defense attorney. I am glad to see RA have a fair trial so he cannot come back and complain he was not given a good lawyer. My question is, prosecution up for the battle?
Well, we've seen round one, and I think round one went to the defense. The prosecution, we haven't seen what they're going to come back with. And they're going to have to come back with a lot for the fact that he's innocent. Richard Allen is innocent until proven guilty. And so they're going to have to come in with a lot of haymakers and do their job, and which is the way it should be.
All right. And Anna, I doubt Charles Manson's attorneys would have staked their reputation on him being a good guy, or Bundy's attorneys.
Oh, you're on tonight. Yes. Yeah. But, these attorneys, they're paid to do what they do, and some of them do it at no charge. I don't know what the fees will be for this, but the final bill for this will be immense, regardless of what the attorneys get out of it.
All right, so that was all I have marked. Do you want to cruise and see if there's something?
No, that's fine. We're good.
All right, it's 9:01.
Okay.
You want to go to Kristen's?
Yeah, we'll probably go over there. I have a show that we're going to look at specifically coming up on Saturday. I want to thank everyone that came tonight, and I want to remind everybody, be thankful for everything that, over the holidays, Thanksgiving, there's a lot to be thankful for. And this channel has offered me so much more to be thankful for, that gives me an opportunity to go out and help other people. And I want to thank all of y'all for that. But take care of your families, remember them during these holidays. And but the Saturday show is going to be totally dedicated to what I look at and what I've seen in the life of Richard Allen. I found some things, and from my perspective, that I look forward to sharing with you, and that's what Saturday Night Show will be about. But anyway, y'all enjoy your Thanksgiving. I want to thank all our members, all our subscribers, and everyone out there. Share this if you like it, join, and I'm looking forward to seeing y'all Saturday. But enjoy your holiday and stay safe out there.
All right, and there was a bunch of comments in there, so if there's something particular you want to have an answer to, send it to Steve at truecrimeweb.com, and he'll respond to you. And we love y'all. Thank y'all very much for everything that you do. Mods, you're the best. Thank y'all very much.
All right. Well, I'm going to go over and watch Kristen and relax for a while and talk to her. All right. Y'all have a great night, guys.